Good evening. This is our transition talk for the month of November. Our guest speaker for this talk is AACOG IDD Services, Justina Melton. She is an intake and eligibility service coordinator, and she's going to discuss the process for AACOG. My name is Teresa Pena, and I am the Judson ISD transition specialist. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Melton and give the floor to her.
Hi, everyone. I'm Justina with AACOG. I work in the intake department. The first step that we do usually help to help families is to ask them to fill out an intake application. Those are available online on our website, or you can always come by the AACOG office and pick up a physical hard copy. We do suggest that once you fill out that intake application, the very first page is very important. That is the contact information. That's the phone number that we're going to use to contact you when trying to set up an intake meeting. Once you do finalize that intake application, we do suggest you drop it off in person in office, just because when you do that, you get a receipt with the date and the time that you did submit that application. Once you submit that application, you will get added to an intake wait list. It should be about a month long. You would get assigned a service coordinator who will be calling you to arrange an intake appointment there at the AACOG office. Those usually last about 30 minutes to an hour, depending. It's when we go over all the services that AACOG has to offer, not just Texas Home Living and HCS, which is our two biggest Medicaid waivers that we're known for, which are those 12 to 15-year waits, but we also have other services that we offer. Once we go over all of that, once we get all the paperwork that we need, including school records and doctor diagnosis, we will get some consent signed for all our paperwork that we need. Then you will get added to a DID waitlist, which is a determination of intellectual disability. Once that is complete, our psychological examiners do have 30 days to write their report, and then you will get a phone call back from your service coordinator letting you know if your loved one did qualify for services or did not qualify for services with AACOG, and if they did, which ones. And then that's when we can make referrals to any other programs within our agency that are not Texas Home Living and HCS.
You mentioned some other services that outside of the waiver programs that our AACOG offers. Are you able to expand a little more on that?
Yes. So one that a lot of people also know about is our safety net, or it used to be called general revenue. That one is a 5 to 7 year wait period that does provide some funding for specialized therapies, employment, in-home, out-of-home respite, and day hab services. We have what is called service coordination only. So that would be when a service coordinator checks in with you every 90 days, gives you some resources for what you're looking for. And if those resources aren't working out for you, they give you new ones. And then we have our CFC, which is community first choice. That would be when a provider would come in home and teach your loved one independent living skills, such as cooking, cleaning, hygiene, grooming, things like that. And then we also have our crisis team if a crisis were to ever arise with your loved one. And those would be the other referrals that we can make.
And the community first choice, those types of services, those are outside of the safety net, or those are services that safety net provides?
Community first choice would be outside of that safety net.
Okay. And then you mentioned crisis respite. And I want to make sure that our viewers understand that that is not an immediate process.
Correct.
Will you go just a little bit more in detail on crisis respite?
So for crisis respite, our crisis team would actually have to come out and assess. Once we have a crisis referral form that we have to fill out for them with some little background information, what's making the situation a crisis. And then we submit that. They would look over it. They would get in contact with the family. They would go out and assess if it indeed is a crisis, or If it's not, and then they would take over on respite hours for that crisis situation.
Thank you. And you mentioned the waiver programs, Texas Home Living and HCS, and AACOG IDD Services manages the Bexar County statewide list, correct? The Bexar
Correct.
County portion of the statewide list. And so if a family can call you directly and ask to be placed on the interest list, but they can also go through another party such as the ARC of San Antonio, correct?
The ARC mainly, to my knowledge, handles class. They are able to make a referral to us for
That's what
Texas
I
Home Living and
and that's what
HCS.
I mean, making the referral.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. And so I want to make sure our viewers also understand that if the ARC is the one making the referral, they are not all the way completely placed on the list at that time. They still have to make contact with ACOG. ACOG will call
Correct, correct. We'll call
our
to go
families.
over our Medicaid waiver interest list questionnaire.
Okay. Because we, in our district, we do utilize the ARC of San Antonio frequently to help our families get connected to a variety of entities. So I want to make sure that they understand that there's still another step in there outside of just filling out the questionnaire with the ARC.
Yes.
Okay. And as I've said before, I want to make sure that everybody understands. Please, if you have filled out an application with ACOG or you're have filled out the questionnaire through the ARC of San Antonio for the HCS or Texas Home Living Medicaid waivers, that you do program their phone number into your phone and identify that number so that when they call you, you'll answer if you're someone who typically doesn't answer unfamiliar phone calls because ACOG their phone rings constantly and those the intake and eligibility service coordinators are calling people all the time and they're receiving phone calls all the time. So we just want to make sure that our families understand that you need to answer that phone call should they call you. So make sure you program their number into your phone. Um, at this time, I don't think I have any more questions, Miss Melton. Is there any final words you think our families need to, the most important thing regarding ACOG they might need to remember?
Um, as far as application wise, like I said, that first page is very important with the best phone number that we're going to be able to contact. Um, that's the phone. That's the one number we're going to look at to make sure that we're calling. So if anything changes, just we can always go back and get another application and just switch out that first page or whatever needs to be done, or just let somebody know. And that I would say that's the most important thing to do.
Great. And you made me think of one other thing. The Medicaid waivers, the two lists that ACOG manages, um, how often should a family expect y'all will reach out to make sure the family is still residing in the area and all of those things, correct? How
Yes.
frequently does that happen?
So we used to give a phone call every year, but now it's every 2 years. We'll call with updated ranks and to update any personal information, address, phone number, residing county, anything like that. But those phone calls will now be done every 2 years.
Every 2 years. And
Yes, ma'am.
so that's, can the family outside of every 2 years, is there another way that the families can access their placement on the list, or is it strictly through calling ACOG?
It would just be through calling ACOG.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay, well, I think that you've answered my questions at this point. I know where to find you, if you have any other information. Any families that are that are viewing this video, um, you're welcome to reach out to me. My name is Teresa Pena. I'm the transition specialist for Judson ISD. My office number is 210 4 9455298. And you can reach out to me. I have access to the applications that Ms. Milton referred to in both English and Spanish, and I'd be happy to provide that to you and assist you in any way possible. And we wish you all the best of luck, and we hope that you have a great night. Thank you.